This is probably the best way to do impressions. So, I mean, yes, for sure. Yes, for sure. Oh, I scrolled up when I didn't want to. Okay. Probably this, so that's my feel. Jacko, I don't know. This is the only. I think she's the only character I haven't played against this patch. LMAO. I'm gonna lazily put her here. I wish I could take characters out, because I actually like. While I have strong feelings about Jacko, usually it comes from a point of experience, you know, and she's kind of like a technical character, so I haven't played any games against her this past. That's not true. I have played games against her, but not a lot. Yeah, I think this is probably the best way of putting it. So first, the first half is how do I feel about the characters after playing the patch for a little while, based on their changes. So you might remember, I know a lot of people, they do this with patch notes, where they're like, oh, these are my impressions based on the patch notes, but they usually don't revisit it after they play for a little bit, so I wanted to do this first. And I will start from the bottom, I guess? Yeah, start from the bottom. Especially because everybody loves Nagoriyuki in this game, right? In Season 2, I got to a point pretty early in that season where I'm like, he's the best character. I think he is the Leo of this patch, in that he got nerfed the most, but he's still really good. And I'll show you guys what I mean when I don't rank all the characters. But he's still very good and still has all the same good shit, plus some new fun stuff. This was my main issue with him. I actually thought, even though he was the best, I thought, it's gonna sound funny coming from me, he's a mildly reasonable best character. My only issue with him was that politely, very politely, Neanderthals could win with him. That's what I don't like. And it's mostly the game's fault and not his fault. Like things about how you can do IAD forward or IAD back and not press a button and you get punished, right? And you know they're mashing close slash under you and you try to get away, they get far slash, they hit you anyway. Like, that's not skill, bro. Like, let's be real. You're just mashing. Right? Like, shit like that. That shit makes me sad. And then on top of that, you're constantly fighting his heavy tools, and you don't do any damage to him, and some characters have problems comboing him. Like that. So, like, a lot of characters I thought had, technically, on paper, good matchups against him, but the issue is, can you do that well every single time against his damage output and what he can put on the table? So, I actually, the defense change, I put Otashi at Hale Matsuri, and I was literally laughing while playing as the character. Like, just one, it's just funny to see him die really fast sometimes. But two, the defense change really, really does matter. So I think all the best Nagos are just chilling. They're gonna just keep winning. These guys are actually good at the game, and they're playing good character. And then the people that, like, there's like a middling level that might have to, like, step it up because of the change. But I definitely think he's the character that got nerfed the hardest out of everybody. Then there's Sin, who took a stray, which kind of sucks in that he got nothing, but he got all the universal changes that everyone had. So his damage is just slightly less just because everyone got the same stuff. So even though he's literally the same character, he just does less damage. I actually need more games against Sin. I don't have a lot of games against right now. And he's been out since, for a month now. So by now I know they're probably like good Sin players, so I gotta start playing against them. Gold Lewis. So Gold Lewis is a couple things, right? There's a damage thing, and there's the drone thing. And there's system stuff. So I actually have not seen how the system affects him in, like, actual matches. I've played against him very little this patch. The drone change is like, come on, everyone likes that change. Everyone except Gold Lewis. Everyone except Gold Lewis players like that change. It's an amazing change. Makes it way, I mean, it's still stressful to fight him, but, like, that shit was crazy. I don't know, like, it's a small nerf, but, like, you know, that shit was crazy, bro. Like, come on, dude. Honestly, that shit was crazy. That shit was crazy. I think a super good Gold Lewis player probably doesn't care that much, But I definitely know there's some Thunderbird bots out there who like their neutral is like, I'm just gonna do level 2 Thunderbird, I'm gonna do level 3 Thunderbird. The only thing I don't know about him is how the system affects him. So against the characters that I have played against way more, because you guys saw like I'm like hunting characters and shit. I could tell you how the system affects the game, because the system does affect the game. Then Ram. So Ram actually had the most 100 base scaling starters out of any character in the game. She had 9. So her losing all that definitely affects her damage. This is another character I have not played too much against, but I need to, because I need to see what they're doing now to compensate for some of her stuff. Because out of the previous top tier, I'm saying previous in that, not that she's not top tier now, just that of like the last patch. Out of that group, I thought her conversion ability was the worst. She's kind of like Baiken a little bit, where like she's really good at airs, but like her ground confirms are not super great. So, but then they also buffed her ground confirms this time, but then they nerfed Rekka, so that one's a little weird one. She gives me same-ish impressions, but I think just her having less opportunities to absolutely maul you because she hit you with some random shit definitely is a thing. I need to look into what the base scaling is on all the stuff though, because each Rekka I think was 100, and then 5H was 100, 2H was 100, Close Slash of course is 100, Saburo Bato, that's the big sword, was 100, and I feel like there's something else I'm forgetting that was 100. She just had a shit ton of like really good starters that she could just delete you. So I have the impression she's like the same, but you just won't melt so much. Again, just a typical example of what I've seen of like, yeah, like maybe your standard player is gonna feel it because like they're abusing something, but then a strong player is not gonna affect them that much. Zato got hit by Stray. Zato, the biggest thing about Zato is that a bunch of his starters got nerfed. One starter, probably like the main one, which I think is interesting, is 2H, because for example, Baiken's 2H is still 100, right? But his is not. But you see his hit way more, is opposing to 2H, right? So he got a damage nerf, which means I feel like his difficult matchups just became more difficult because it's going to be harder for him to kill. Depending on how you feel about Zato, you're hyped for that or you're not hyped for that. I'm mixed feelings about it. I think he's cool, but like, I've seen his bad matchups and that shit is pain, right? So he's just not nuking as hard as he used to, basically. Same shit. I mean, these characters, I'm not going to go super detail. From playing against them, the one that I played the least against again is Jacko, so I'm not gonna say too much about Jacko. It might sound surprising, but usually when I talk shit about Jacko, it's after grinding against Jacko a lot. so right now Jacko's safe. She looked the same from like the 10ish games I played against her. I watched some games with her too, and I was like, wow, what is this? Some of the things I saw people posting the first couple of days looked worrisome, for lack of a better word, but again, we'll see. I'll come back to her. This is, of course, just for now. The other characters, for HC, it doesn't really feel like the 6K thing affects him too much. Like, it looks like it's literally made to just stop him from doing like one specific thing, like that's it. Besides that, I feel like he basically plays the same as before. Ino, same thing. Like she's the one thing though, as I have not played Ino that has spammed the new dive. So in my experience, it felt the same. But I have seen clips of Ino doing some new stuff. So maybe once they tighten it up, I will probably change my opinion on her. Soul's basically the same. I feel really sorry for saying this because I'm not. This is just like I'm gonna make someone tight by saying this but it's because of my approach to games, my bot-like approach to games. But like the combo shit, bro, like he's still deleting you. Like, come on, man. It's just like I don't know. Like I don't think it's that big of a deal. And then he got better neutral tools. It pains me a little bit to hear people not like favorite part of the game is just doing combos and not like neutral and like offense defense interactions. For me, it is pain, but also I am not a fun person, so I understand that. So I understand if you're sad that he can't do XYZ combo, or all his routing is all going to the same combo. It'd be like that sometimes. Don't say he's nerfed though, because I don't think he's nerfed. I think he's just the same. To be honest, you have to redo some stuff. It'd be like that. It's okay. And then Kai is literally the same character. I feel like hashtag not a gamer. We already know. So now in small buffs, I was really worried about Testament when I read the change. And one thing about Testament, so like Baiken has what I thought Testament would have, but it would be way more toxic on Testament, where like Testament, it's if the fireball's on the screen, then and you do another one, then the old skull goes away no matter what, whether it's charged or not. And they're protecting us. They learned their lesson from the past, and that's it. They're protecting us. Like, there's nothing else to say. The 2H change is crazy. I want to say there is at least one other character, at least two other characters, because Axl has one, Testament has one. I don't know who else has one off the top of my head. Chat if you guys know. A vacuum. I guess Geo has one. Geo has one. Oh, Potemkin has it on I said Atomic Collider. That's how you know I'm a BlazBlue player. I was like, Potemkin has it on Atomic Collider. Shut up. Testament, the 2H change, I think is a really big deal. It's a really unusual move in footsies too, because you know it's like slow startup, but it's a huge hitbox. It's -2. It vacuums, so you get really good stuff from it. I think it's a pretty interesting, fun tool. I feel like they keep giving Testament stuff. I feel like Testament is like Secret Kai, where like everyone's like, oh, they keep giving Kai stuff, right? They keep doing that to Testament too, I feel like. And Testament is better. Like Testament is like better mid game, late game than Kai. So it's like spooky that they're stacking all this shit on Testament. But also the character's cool. So I don't know. And then Baiken. So this is a base character I want to talk about system a little bit. Baiken benefits a lot from system changes. So I thought, for example, I made a quick video about it, but the risk change and the tension changes, I thought like the obvious ones was gonna be like your Millia, Chipps of the world, like people who build risk fast. But it also benefits characters that are good at mashing, like HC, for example. I actually forgot to mention this for HC. That's like a, but I mean he was always building a shit ton of meter for like mashing out of your shit. So even though his defense is bad, if he gets out of pressure, then he gets a really big return. And I think this helps Baiken. She's not the best at abare, like at mashing into like full combos. However, she is really good at building meter in general, so that shit adds up a lot. And then the tatami change is nice for just some neutral interactions. That's mostly what I find it for. I have seen a couple of combos, but I haven't like tried them. I just don't know if they're useful or not. The Yozan Sen change is big. It's big. It was bigger than I can just mix heavies without. What's funny is like 2 days before they patched the game, I was like, oh, I found a collision hitbox mix that works well with heavies. Finally, that was always my problem. Is like, why is it so annoying to do to them? And then they're just like, oh, what if you could just do Yozan Sen whenever you want? So my thought was just, oh, I can mix heavies, but the damage you get from throw into cross Yozan is just like, brother, like it's just so much. Like she was already getting 50 meter, but like she just does so much damage now off that. So it's like they improved her throw. Like right now, I basically think she has the best throw mix in the game. And you are you're going to feel a really bad thing if she throws you, basically, especially if you don't have a burst for some reason. So she is up a little bit, and then she keeps all her good stuff. Her damage is slightly down, and there's stuff you use a lot, like 5H and 6H. But the curious one they didn't nerf was 2H. I do not know why they nerfed Zato's 2H, but not Baiken's 2H. Did they think that Zato's was like spammier, like opposed 2H was like just too easy, where Baiken like, oh, you got finesse that, and if you whiff it you die? Because I don't know, but they let that shit rock. So Geo, so her main thing, it's a couple things. So one, she benefits from the system because she gets combos off base. It's very uncommon for her to mash out on defense and not to get a combo. It's pretty uncommon. And then she's got new routing, which is really good. She's usually pretty good at routing, but I felt like the June patch, her routing got weird / weaker / I didn't play her on that patch, so I just felt like it looked weird and odd from watching her play. Where in this patch, I feel like they simultaneously encourage people to use a move that they don't, which is 2H, and did stuff with routing that I think makes her stronger. She's always a character I think that's really strong too, just conceptually in this game. She's fast as fuck, great strike throw, relatively non-committal strike throw, usually pretty good mix, just can't loop it, combos out everything, you know. Like she has a bunch of good stuff going for it. Does chip damage really easily. So I kind of like her changes. Then there's Leo. So Leo, they did a couple of small changes But this motherfucker's buff. So the smallest change is probably the sweep change. The sweep change is just so that he can get his white into 5k meaty. He could not do that last patch. The Leo hater in me says it's cool that he can't do that, but it's fine, right? It's just basically like getting hit by flash kick, essentially. Lazily put. The big changes are to Yurst, which is 236S, and 6k. So for 6k, there's some characters like Soul that just get a combo, right? However, the main thing about 6k is that he always gets flash kick now. Like he will always get a combo now. And then Yurst is so big now that you basically will never push him out with FD and make it whiff. So he has way more stability in mid-range, and then he's better at converting, and he is good. So I remember I said Ram out of like the let's say last patch, like a top 4 group. He is pretty good at hit confirming, and now he's better at it. And because of that, the risk buff benefits him. This is the rich get richer type thing. If you're getting tired of seeing Nago, then I got some good news for you. You might see a little less Nago, but you will probably see a little bit more Leo. Once again, we are back in season 1. Yay Leo. Okay. Millia. So Millia, there's a couple things. One, I need to play her a lot more. I played against her a bunch. I feel like the Turbo Fall change is a very meaningful change. That's one. I think so I think the Turbo Fall change is really meaningful, mostly because you get some corner control that you don't usually have. And right now in the game, there's not a lot of characters that are good at dealing with like her doing like multiple hits into sweep. So I think that's actually a pretty good situation that she can really use, and it makes her corner damage a little bit better in some situations. It also adds extra layer to mix-up, which is always nice. It is pretty nice for the mix-up character to be able to do mix-ups. The air dash stuff is always strong because you have the threat of cross being instant, but in the corner, like, is it good? Yes. Is it as good as our old stuff? Not really. And then also your damage output is lower there, so I thought that was really nice. An option that I think is kind of understated is actually S-Disc. I think S-Disc is really buffed compared to before. One thing I liked from picking her back up is not feeling like I had to overextend so much. Like, one thing that Chipp always had over Millia, because they have a lot of things that are similar, to the point that, annoyingly, this was a little pet peeve of mine because I'm like Chipp. People are like, why not just play Chipp? He's a better Millia, when they're not like the same, but they have some similarities, and one is definitely from the way they set up pressure. But what Chipp is better at doing is that he's negative on his Rekkas, but he's way better at disengaging than Millia is. So not only does he have Gamma as a plus move, and he's got like bigger buttons before him, but also he's better at disengaging. So one thing that's nice about the S-Disc is like it hits from pretty far, so you can use like an attack level 4 move and use that. And I don't know the exact number, but it looks like 0-ish, and it's airtight, which for a character like her, like the thing. So like there was some misinfo about Millia. Like, people were like, and I was able to shrug this off because I was like, I know in my heart it wasn't true. People were like, oh, you dropped Millia because you lost 6am at Evo and he's better than you and you don't like that, so you want to switch characters. No, that is actually not why. The reason, I was already in the dumpster by the time I got there. I lost to an Axl player named, I'm so sorry, Sorcerer Twix, right? Axl on Millia. Axl's like one of my best personal matchups. I actually, up until that point, I had not lost to Axl like ever, and it was the way I lost that made me lose my mind. And he was IBFDing the second hit of Close Slash and punishing me for a really big damage. And you just can't. I'm just like, dude, to what extent? Like, my issue is like I learned Happy Chaos, right? Happy Chaos, you have all day to see what's going on. You pull up, you guard crush them, you have all day. Nago, there's so many characters you have all day to confirm their guard. And it's like, Millia has enough stuff that you have to keep track of and situations and stuff. But then on top of that, I have to worry about like these blinds that, like, if I get them to block, then I'm +1 and my follow-up options are not great. And then if I don't see the way they guard in time, then I fucking die. Like, I was just, I couldn't handle it. I was like doom. And I know myself as a player, I don't want to harp about how I was feeling too much, but I know myself as a player. One thing I like about other NA Millions is that I feel like they believe in themselves more, which I think is really important to playing her, because you just have to be cool with it. And like I didn't feel like I could make those choices like I was like I could take a certain amount of risk. You have to take risks in fighting games, but I was just like I was one of those like all paths lead to death. Like that's how I was feeling. You know, so even though I just didn't feel strong playing her, so anything that lets her disengage safely will help her a lot. That actually was one of her biggest problems, and I basically think that one is solved with this change, which it feels pretty good. I just had to restructure my pressure a little bit. Whether for later, whether or not she ends up being like super good, basically will come from like routing on things, plus one thing which I think at this point they just don't want they don't want her late disc mix-ups to be like super strong. Like if they also give her that, I think she'll be like really strong. But she, like I said, I think it's the outlook good for her this version, and the buffs were pretty meaningful. There's also things like sweep, you know, not dying because you did sweep. You had the nerve to mix them up with a low. You did 2k2d and then you die, like things like that. Just making it safer and making it so that she doesn't just auto get deleted for like doing the thing that she wants to do is like really nice. Then there's Faust, so they keep buffing him. As long as they don't buff items, I'm chilling. And I actually hate the mini Faust change from previous patch, but I actually like this change because his main changes, which is all about pushback, because a lot of characters have, especially Leo. Well, because I played Leo Faust. I'm here with Faust players. Leo players are so fucking lazy against Faust. They just go dash, 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 and then they can act on frame 2, and you can't fucking hit him, and you have to press buttons, though, and you're minus on everything. That shit sucks. So, the pushback was actually really nice. I want to see what those matchups look like now, especially, like, I mean, Leo's up a little bit now, but, the classic Faust beats Nago, right? Like, I want to see some of those now, and it actually slightly, I want to say, affects like his matches against fast characters, but not that much. So I actually like those changes a lot for him. Also, him and Millia both benefit from system changes quite a bit. Millia, I mean, does not need it to be said that much, right? Like, she's not good at building meter, so the wrist change, like, that was the first character I was thinking of. Where Faust is not good at mashing, which it sounds funny. So what do I mean? Let me clarify what I mean, right? What makes a character good at mashing? It's not necessarily your buttons. So for example, you might think Anji is good at mashing. In my opinion, Anji is only okay at mashing. He's not good at mashing because he has the big 2p. But the issue is he needs 2p counter hit, right? He needs 2p counter hit, 6h. Where like if HC mashes, HC would be like 2k2d, hold H, gun steady aim, dash, all the bubble, right? Or like if Soul mashes, it would be, I don't know this version actually. If Soul mashes, before it would be like 5k 6s into, I guess, Bandit Bringer, something simple. Or Leo would be like 2pp DP, right? 2pp DP hard knockdowns, white, boom, right? So that's what I would consider good mashing. Or Jacko's another, right? 2k 2d, minion hold, whatever, right? Millia 2k 2d, H disc. Like these are characters that are good at mashing. Faust has great buttons for mashing, but generally does not get good return for doing it. Usually like 5pp, 6p. I think he has to do like 5p, 6p immediately into shit to get a combo. I think you gotta change that. Let him do 5p, 6p into Tornado in Season 2, which was really helpful. Launch Faust was really like 5pp, 6p like item. So yeah, the mashing part doesn't help him that much, but the meter build part helps him a good amount. And this Potemkin. So Potemkin, surprisingly, despite him not building risk quickly, it does help him because he gets suppressed. Honestly, the biggest change that I've noticed from playing him, because I actually played against a Potemkin in tournament, it was sweep. Sweep is really good for him. I feel like he converts way more shit now than he used to. Like, way more shit than he used to. In ranges that are, like, scary. Like, I actually feel like he gets more opportunities to get started if you, like, interact with him in footsies. And then, like, 5H was always disjoint, you know? But, you know, it has such a long total duration that's kind of hard to use. So I think the far slash thing helps out a lot. Makes him less linear. Less linear, always a good thing. So yeah, he felt stronger But yeah, anything that helps the character be less straightforward, less linear is always good in my IMO. So Chipp, only a couple things. So like again, the meter thing benefits him. He builds risk fast. I mean his risk meter builds quickly. The Senchu change pretty meaningful, I think. It's mostly that like so many characters' main neutral strategy is to like use lows against him. So now he has like a return away with to beat that also has return. And a kind of interesting way too, and also making him use normals he doesn't use a lot, H basically. Because I thought basically if you had good footsies you could fight it before. It would be annoying, but you could fight it before. But now he has more ways to fight it, plus you have new tools to confirm it. I thought the Senchu thing was like crazy speed wise, but I at least so far it isn't. It's mostly for combos. It mostly still has to feel from combos, I think. But I need to play against some more to really see. So then there's these. So these last four. So I'm gonna just start Bridget because it's only gonna take 2 seconds. I'm listening to Bridget players saying that Bridget is super buffed. I don't really know what they did to her. Like Jacko, I'm not really gonna talk about her. The main thing is that unlike I haven't really heard things about Jacko players. Sorry, about Jacko from Jacko players yet. Nor have I played against her a lot. And for Bridget, it's just like I hear everyone saying, "Oh, she's good. So she's good." There you go. People say I don't listen to people who play the character. Here you go. She's good. She's buffed. I don't know. Wait, I got to take a look into her, of course. But that's just me listening to people. Then there's Anji. So feel like he plays the same, and that they actually wanted him to do this, and that's why I feel like he's buffed. Is that a weird sentence? That's not that weird of a sentence, right? And basically, because like the changes they made were not to the things that I thought were his main problems, which was I think he's a really committal character. Like he has to like do the thing, right? And they're just like, that's just cool. How about you just combo a little bit more, and then after Fujin Nagiha, we let him pull up, and that's it. But I mean, it helps him do what he basically wants to do, right? So it just gave me the feel they wanted him to do this the whole time, type thing, because they just didn't address what I thought were his weaknesses. So, but it's good for him, honestly. Like one thing that I could always reach across the aisle for is the feeling that, because this is a feeling that I had with Millia. I want to say October 2021 or so, where the feel that you have to use a move, but it doesn't matter, is not a good feeling, right? And like you have to knock down a Nagiha, but like you don't get a meaty half the time. Like we've been there, bro. Millia players, we've been there too, bro. S-Disc, S-Disc, we've been there. So that's cool. Even though like I'm not a fan of how the character plays and stuff, I think it's cool that like he got stuff that he needed. And I guess they really just want him to just commit, and if he's right, you die. And that's the character. That's the character, and that's what people think is cool. Axl's pretty straightforward, I would say. I mean, it's just mainly, I would say 2 really big things. One is how much more threatening Rainwater is. If you don't know what move that is, that's the move where he jumps back. It was always plus, but it vacuums now. And the vacuum makes his combos crazy. His conversion ability with the changes from last patch, plus a couple of more changes this patch, his damage output is way higher. And then they did a couple of things to address like his big weaknesses. Like similar to Faust, he had a problem against the dash block, so they gave him a couple of options versus that. So I think he's one of those characters where it's like, oh, super obvious. But most of the characters that are straight buffed are like super obvious, you know. If there's one, it's probably Bridget, because most people don't know Bridget like that. But the others, it's pretty clear. The last one is Mei, so the jump speed matters. She's already hard anti-air, and now she goes farther. The dolphin RPS change, and you're like, one thing about Mei is, and this is something I want to revisit for a video next year, is like each match has like phases, right? So, like, the beginning of the round, and the middle of the round, and end of the round. So, Mei is a pretty good character at the end of the round, and she was, like, okay at the beginning of the round. Why is she okay? Because she's got good buttons for counter-poking, but then, like, you know, there's Nago throwing out buttons, and there's steady aim, and there's Leo Whitefang, there's all this shit she has to deal with, right? She has a lot of damage if she gets good hits, but she has to get a good hit. if she hits you something random, then she's minus, right? Because old S Dolphin's like -2 on hit. So now it's 0 on hit. So she's even on hit, -3 on block. So the RPS changed, and she's constantly moving forward now. And this just helps her keep that RPS up in a way where she's kind of like the Dolphin. You have to lab it, but the S Dolphin RPS is a little bit like Millia-esque, where it's like not easy to disengage. May does so much damage that they would just play the RPS with you anyway, because they're like, oh, if I'm right, I just keep going, so I'm chilling. So now she just gets to push, which is, I think, a big deal. I don't know how the damage stuff affected her. The damage changes affected her, but it just feels like she just is more complete in all phases of the game, rather than oh, I'll do my best at the beginning and then just try to live until I get 50 meter because I'm going to, and then meme type character. So yeah, that's how I'm feeling this early.